Good afternoon, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this afternoon, Chang meets with some principals regarding school violence. Amid growing concerns about the surge in deadly violence in schools, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang held talks with a group of principals on Friday to discuss the crisis. Dr. Chang met with principals from Western Jamaica at a one-day interministerial school support retreat at the Iberostar Convention Center in Montego Bay, St. James. The rising violence in schools, challenges facing parents to send their children to school, and the students being recruited into lottery scamming were some of the topics discussed at the meeting. Speaking to the media following the closed-door meeting, Dr. Chang said the recruitment of students into lottery scamming is of major concern to the authorities. He said that many students are being put at risk.
The current emergence of advanced fee fraud or scamming as a criminal activity does increase the risk to our students. You must bear in mind that it is a technical operation, and those who grow up in the digital age, so to speak, with cell phones, smartphones and iPads and things, can easily access scamming. And the economy with limited opportunities, some of the young, quite bright kids find it the easier way to make a living and make a very decent living out of it. But it involves high risk, and therefore breaking the law, and therefore create a whole new ecosystem which we have to deal with.
Friday's meeting with the school administrators comes just days after a 17-year-old student of the Catholic College in Manchester was charged for the murder of his classmate Akeelia White. Akeelia, who was 20, died from stab wounds she received during a dispute at the institution on Monday. Another 17-year-old was wounded when he came to her assistance. Indicom using CCTV footage to help probe a quadruple killing by police. Independent Commission of Investigations is banking on closed-circuit television footage to help it better understand how events unfolded on May 8 when 4 males were fatally shot during a reported firefight with police in downtown Kingston. The dead men have been identified as 17-year-old Daniel Lisa Rose of Mark Lane, Romaine Bones Lois of King Street, 19-year-old Stephen Rochester, carpenter of Love Lane, and a 44-year-old Garnell Jackson of a New Haven Kingston 20 address. It is reported that the gunfight occurred around 1:30 a.m. and continued until just after 4 a.m. One member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force was shot and injured during the incident. On Friday, Assistant Commissioner of Indicom, Hamish Campbell, told the news that despite numerous visits by his investigators to the scene where the shootings occurred, no eyewitnesses have come forward. The media reports are well known that the police did confront armed gunmen. Those armed gunmen were engaged in a gunfight with other men that was initially witnessed by the police. Those gunmen were seen escaping, and some of that aspect is documented on CCTV. A chase ensued, and the vehicle the criminals were driving crashed and suffered a severe frontal collision damage. Those men escaped from the car, armed with guns, and there was a further confrontation with the police, and the 4 men were shot and killed. That is the account we have of the events, and we are trying to correlate that account with CCTV evidence and forensics, Campbell said. He told the news that Indicom continues to investigate the matter, and most of the investigative groundwork has been laid. Much work was done the day of the shooting, and a considerable amount of time was spent at the 4 different scenes where the shooting occurred and resulted in damage to the car and eventually the fatal shootings. The matter has gone to the laboratory, the weapons and the over 100 casings found at the scene. Over 100 shots were fired by the security forces, and there were shots fired by the gunmen. That matter is continuing, said Campbell. CCTV evidence is being recovered from one premises, and further inquiries are being made in relation to other CCTV in the area, which captures sets of the events. That is under investigation still. We are not in a position to further provide a commentary in relation to those aspects of the CCTV evidence. The officers have all made statements and given them to Indicom, and they have also come in to be interviewed as witnesses, and the inquiry will continue with the post-mortem still to be held, added Campbell. As it relates to eyewitnesses, Campbell said there were people who clearly did see something. We don't have at this stage any testimony from any civilian saying they saw any aspect of the shooting, he said. When questioned if the police personnel involved have been removed from frontline duty, Campbell said it is a JCF policy to send any member involved in fatal shootings on administrative leave for 14 days. He pointed out, however, that he could not say for sure if the JCF members involved in this incident were sent on administrative leave. The officer would be sent on administrative leave for 14 days, but not as a punishment. When the police conduct their administrative inquiry, then the officers would normally be returned to duty. In this instance, one officer was shot and injured, so he would not be returning to duty. They are not on suspension or interdiction, but it is normal for administrative leave of 14 days. That is a standard policy for them, so they wouldn't be telling us if that is the situation. That is how we understand it to be, Campbell explained. Boxer killed by police in Davon, Manchester, firearm seized. A man was killed by police during an alleged confrontation in Davon, Manchester on Saturday morning. Relatives named the deceased as Andre Knight, otherwise called the Boxer, a 41-year-old construction worker and a resident of Davon. Head of the Manchester Police, Deputy Superintendent Kerry Duncan, told the journalist that the man confronted the police and a 9mm pistol was seized. Around 4:30 a.m., the police team came to this location in Davon with the intention of executing a search warrant. The house was breached, and on entering, they were confronted by a man who was armed with a firearm. The police responded and the man was shot and injured. He was taken to the Mandeville Regional Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. One firearm was also recovered, said Duncan. Knight's relatives were reluctant to speak on record to the media at the scene. They, however, questioned the police's version of the incident. The Independent Commission of Investigations is probing the incident. Man pointed out as alleged car operator in drive-by shooting arrested. 32-year-old Roshane Miller of Mannings Hill District, Stony Hill PO, has been charged with wounding with intent with the use of a firearm, possession of a prohibited weapon, and unauthorized possession of ammunition following an incident which occurred in Lawrence Tavern, St. Andrew on Monday, April 22. Reports from the Lawrence Tavern police are that about 8 a.m., Miller was the driver of a motor car that drove up with a group of men, all armed with handguns, who opened gunfire at 3 men. The police were summoned and the injured men taken to the hospital, where all 3 were admitted and treated for gunshot wounds to their upper body. Miller was charged after being pointed out during an identification parade. His court date is being finalized. Jamaican Bar Association seeks clarity on appointment of acting DPP. The Jamaican Bar Association continues to press for clarity on the appointment of an acting director of public prosecutions. An acting DPP was appointed when DPP Paula Llewellyn indicated that she was not able to execute her functions following a court ruling on an extension of her tenure. The government maintained that the position was not vacant, but the opposition held that it was. The government has since filed an appeal of the ruling. The position of the Bar Association is that there needs to be clarity regarding the basis for the appointment of the acting DPP. Leslie Ann Stewart, a member of the Constitutional Affairs and the Human Rights Committee of the Bar Association, contends that a clear vacancy was created by the court's judgment. Ms. Stewart, speaking Friday with the News, asserted therefore that the rule of law is being circumvented.